Hello everybody, welcome back, and I am TheChornick, and today, ladies and gentlemen, we are going to talk about Pokemon Sword and Shield, and why its new gimmick, Dynamax, is, in my brutally honest opinion, is absolutely freaking ridiculous. Okay, so let me explain. First off, Mega Evolution was like the first of this gimmick line, right? And Mega Evolution to me was it was fine, you know, it was great. It was a great addition. Most of the community well received it. But then Z moves came out, right? And Z moves were kind of people didn't really care about it too much. People weren't as hyped about it as Mega Evolution, cuz Mega Evolution was the first, addition, the first gimmick to this battling thing. And so when Z moves came out, people were like, well, why don't you just improve on Mega Evolution, add more Mega Evolutions to all these Pokemon instead of giving Z moves out and adding a new gimmick for Z moves when moves are already boosted by Mega Evolution because the stats are boosted. And so Z moves weren't as well received, but whatever, it gives other Pokemon that don't have Mega Evolution a chance to use a powerful move and have that for them. So fine, right? But now we have Dynamax, okay? And the fact that they've made gimmick after gimmick after gimmick now shows me that they're just going to do that for the rest of the time, and they're going to come out with a new gimmick that does pretty much the same thing every single, but changes it up in some way. So now I bet that the next region, I'm calling this out right now, is going to have miniature Pokemon. Instead of big Pokemon, it's going to have miniature Pokemon. And Dynamax, as we know, increases the Pokemon's size, but does everything that Z moves and Mega Evolution does. It's not unique. It just makes it bigger, makes the Pokemon bigger. So you can have these gigantic Pokemon battles, but you can only use them during certain cases, like fighting a gym leader, where there's a huge arena. That's the only case that you can use them, or one of the very few. So why is this ridiculous? Well, one, because of that reason right there. You can only use it in certain cases, but it's becoming a gimmick that's just it's repetitive. And Mega Evolution, I think, it changed their look and made them more powerful, and you can only use it once and blah blah blah. So Mega Evolution conquered all of these things in just itself. And so why would you add all these new gimmicks that do the same thing, but you're calling it different and you're adding one unique variation to them? And moreover, these Pokemon games now are going to remove Z moves. They're going to remove Mega Evolution. They're going to remove prior gimmicks. So Dynamax right now, if you don't already know this, is actually removing Mega Evolution Z moves from the game. They're not adding them, because then that would be too many gimmicks and too many OP ways of improving the strength of your Pokemon and stuff, because you would have one Pokemon that has a Z move, one Pokemon that has a Mega Evolution, and another Pokemon that has a Dynamax thing. It's just too many gimmicks, which I agree with, and I don't think Dynamax is it, all it does is do exactly what Mega Evolution does and change the moves so that they look a little bit different, like Z moves do. So they're kind of combining the two, but then they just make the Pokemon even bigger, and you can only use it in certain battles. I think it's a ridiculous concept, but they're getting rid of Mega Evolution Z moves, which you could use in any battle, in any concept or situation, but you're not allowed to use those anymore. So now, most of the battles that you go through the game are going to be normal battles prior to Gen 6. Normal Pokemon battles without Mega Evolution, without Z moves, without anything fancy, without any power boosting, besides people maybe using potions or, certain chems and whatnot to improve their Pokemon. I don't like Dynamax because it gonna only come out with gimmicks that are repetitive. It's coming out with stuff that's just unoriginal. It's just they're trying to gain money and act as if they're improving, but in reality, all they did was make the Pokemon bigger. They couldn't come up with something better than that. In my opinion, what they should be doing is going into finding new features in regards to new game modes. New game modes, when they came out with the trailer and the trainer's walking out into that big arena, right? Well, obviously that's because Dynamax is involved, but I really hoped that it was because it would be sports. There would be some sports mode added to the game. And that's what they should be putting their creative ideas towards. is like new modes, new ways of battling, not just increasing your Pokemon's strength like the past 3 generations have been doing, right? Mega Evolution's fine. Like that was a brand new concept, and they nailed it with Mega Evolution. It was a popular addition. But with Dynamax being implemented, they're getting rid of the prior 2 gimmicks and implementing this, which you can only use in a few cases. So it's even worse, in my opinion, than Z moves and Mega Evolution in regards to just the frequency. So we don't even have Mega Evolution and Z moves anymore. So it's almost like a downgrade. So where does that put Pokemon right now? We need new game modes, and I honestly believe that we need new features and sports modes and new ways of playing the game. That's not just, oh, we can use a Z ring. We could use a Mega ring. We could use a ring that makes Pokemon bigger. Okay, could you come up with something besides rings, please? Like, come up with something else. Something different, a new mode, please. Like, it's just repetitive. Like, even just the fact that you're wearing things on your wrist improves the moves, improves the strength and stats, improves how big it is. And I'm betting you that next generation, these Pokemon are gonna be like miniature versions, and be like, oh my gosh, it's Minimax, you know? Minimax, and then they're gonna like shrink down, and you can watch them on a table fight each other. You understand how ridiculous it just seems? Like it's just like it's a gimmick. That's what it is. It's not something that's like extremely new to the table. It's just, yeah, let's make them bigger. Let's make them smaller. That's why I think this is just ridiculous. And Mega Evolution, it had it. It was brand new and people loved it. Z moves, kind of the same thing. Z moves, you know, the power and the bonding with the trainer is what allows your Pokemon to grow stronger and use stronger moves and blah blah. Same thing. The same explanation for how Mega Evolution occurs is how Z moves occur. Oh, the mysterious, you know, background of Z moves. I'm studying it, and the freaking professors of the regions, you know how they, you know, go and say. But freaking Dynamax, I bet you're gonna go in the game, and like the professor is gonna talk about Dynamax and how it's a phenomenon, and between trainer and Pokemon, and I'm sorry. It's getting ridiculous. It's getting repetitive, and I'm just tired of it. And I want them to add a brand new game mode, a sports mode perhaps, that just changes Pokemon, the way that you battle or the way that you use them in the game, besides just battling, besides just contests. I mean, contests were a brand new feature, and were, you know, like back in Generation 3, and there was a new way of doing things with your Pokemon. But like, if they can do something else where Pokemon aren't just used for battles, but they could be used for sports, and you can compete, and you can maybe some sort of strategy, right, that you come up with, and you have to outplay your opponents, and the strength of your Pokemon may determine how well it does at these sports. Maybe depending on the moves, what the moves do to a goal or a certain amount of points or whatever. Maybe there's a ball in the arena that you have to move around, and your Pokemon can be defensive or offensive, and they can, you know, like, you just move them around somehow. Maybe you play as a Pokemon that you catch, and maybe it's a one-on-one, and you have to somehow get the ball into the goal using moves. And so they could come up with something more creative. But no, all they're gonna do is be like, oh, here's our new creative idea. We're gonna make them bigger. Like, you can see why I feel really weird and awkward about this new feature and gimmick. It's just, and the fact that it's removing Mega Evolutions and Z moves from the game. It's just, to me, nothing so far in any of these trailers has been really exciting. Like, nothing. Like, even the legendaries are just kind of more dogs. You know what I mean? Like, more dog legendaries. And that's where I'm going to put it. So post in the comment section below your guys' thoughts and feelings. I just kind of made a rant about this new gimmick that they're adding to the game, new feature, and why I think it's just absolutely ridiculous, and why Pokemon needs to be more creative and come up with something brand new, and in my opinion, a new mode. Don't, like, come back with Mega Evolution, improve upon that, because that was the popular addition to the games. Make it more RPG-like. Maybe you have a companion that travels around with you. You could choose who your companion is and then you guys go to the league and become the duo champions of the region. Like, that's new. That's different. A multi-champion, right? But no, they're coming out with ridiculous ideas like Dynamax, like that are just easier for them to implement because all you're doing is making the Pokemon bigger. Instead of doing something new and truly creative, like adding a brand new mode that makes the game feel vastly different, you know. And Pokemon has just been very incremental in their improvements from each game. Very, very incremental. Even with graphics, like you could see that Sun and Moon compared to Sword and Shield, their graphics aren't that different. Like the only thing that they do that's like might take a lot of time and effort is the development of new Pokemon, like adding new Pokemon to the game and like what moves are they gonna have, what typings, you know, or what their name's gonna be called, what they're designed around. But besides that, like, and maybe the development of the region, but they're still using aspects from former games, and it's the same thing. It's the same thing over and over again. It doesn't seem as if they're really being that creative. And so that's just my overall rant about Pokemon Sword and Shield, and particularly just at least the gimmick Dynamax. So that's all I have to say about it. Post in the comment section below your guys' thoughts and feelings about Dynamax. Do you like it? Do you like the new idea, the new concept? Do you think it's ridiculous? Like, I think so. You know, like, do you think it should have been something else? Do you think it should have been like they should have focused their efforts on a new game mode or a new way to just interact with your Pokemon or use them? Not just in battles, but maybe something else like playing a game, like sports or whatever, you know? Like, why couldn't they come up with a new idea of like how to use your Pokemon, not how to use them in a battle? Like, let's just make them bigger, you know, with the same mechanics that we had for the other two games. Like, I just think it's ridiculous. I think it's repetitive, and I'm asking for something creative and new. And so that's where my standpoint is on this. What do you think about Dynamax? Do you think I'm wrong? Is there anything about Dynamax you think I'm not thinking about or putting into play here that I'm not talking about? And put your argument down in the comment section below. I like to hear it. I love your faces. Can't wait to see you guys in the next one. And peace off. Thank you very much.